So we're here at Something Fest with Angus Goldman and Jason Titman, who've just been on stage with Larissa Lay. And first and foremost, tell me, how'd you find the experience jumping up there and being interviewed by the lovely Larissa?
Larissa was great. It was a bit dark in that room, I thought, but a great crowd. You know, they seemed to be pretty energised, and at least Larissa didn't make the questions too difficult, and she didn't deviate too much when we off our planning session. Sometimes you get up there and the MCs deviate a bit, but no, I think it was good.
No, good. Yeah, if you had me up there, I wouldn't have looked down at my sheet once. So I'm glad Larissa was handling it.
Yeah, I was going to say, how is it at the moment? I know crypto, it is probably being a lot more commonly accepted now, slowly. I'm seeing them on billboards, so everyone's, even my mother, talking about Bitcoin, which is always a good sign. How is it? You spoke about working in a highly volatile market at the moment. How's that been for you guys?
Yeah, volatility is definitely an understatement in terms of the market, but no, it's good. I mean, it's all about planning around the cycles. Bitcoin typically follows a 4-year cycle, and so we're currently right now budgeting for 3 and 4 years into the future and making sure that we've got a sustainable business that can grow through that period and keep on acquiring other businesses as we go and get bigger and better.
Look, super exciting. I think there's been a 180-degree shift since the Trump administration has come in. And, you know, I talk to people all the time in this industry. I talk to a lot of Australian, politicians about it as well, and New Zealand regulators. Whether you disagree with anything that Trump does or as an individual, the reality of it is for the crypto industry, you know, he has set about a monumental shift. America is back in the game with crypto, but that flows to the rest of the world. So, you know, Angus talked about the 4-year cycles. They absolutely do play out to some extent. I think, though, as more institutions get into the industry, and I think as more mainstream investors get in, we're going to see less volatility moving forward, but they're still going to be there. But really exciting industry. And I think the other thing for me, and we're seeing this with the SWYFTX customer base, they're wanting to move now from just seeing it as a speculative investment class into being a longer term investment. And crypto is now starting to move into the payments ecosystem. In fact, stable coins are a style of crypto that last year the total global value exceeded MasterCard and Visa card put together. That puts something into perspective. We don't hear a lot, the media doesn't talk about that a lot. That's putting it into perspective how big this industry is already becoming.
Well, and really quickly, if you don't mind me, Kenji, even for the layman, it is still in the early adoption phase. Like you said, your mum knows about Bitcoin now, but is she in it? No. And so for those numbers to be true and to still be in early adoption is quite insane.
I was going to say, my mother does have Bitcoin, and she's on SWYFTX. She's got ETH,
That's
Sol,
music
and
to our ears.
Yeah, I got her to buy in. But you were talking about crystallizing a vision. You've come in as CEO into SWYFTX, and sort of there's a lot of butterflies to chase in entrepreneurial land, so many ideas. How has that been, I guess, for you, Angus, to have Jason come in and help grow that team like that?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm a nerd through and through, and I'm there to be building out products and delivering it further. And so, you know, like we chatted with Larissa on the stage, it's all about getting the right people in the room and making sure that you're not the one doing stuff that isn't in your remit or your areas of strength. So bringing Jason on board just absolutely slingshots forward, and you know, taking on his experience is just takes us to a whole nother level.
Yeah, and to bridge off that a little bit, when Larissa asked about the one piece of advice for founders in there, you said to trust yourself and to be so clear on ethics and values. Could you tell me a little bit more about that and why that's actually important for founders to double down on?
I think the founder journey is just a challenging journey from day one. And you've got to get a team of people around you. And I see too many founders that start off with that right vision and what they want to achieve, and then they seem to get lost along the way. And then their teams get lost, and it all, you know, either all falls apart or they don't get to that level that they really need to get to. So for me, as I said, a founder needs to stay true to themselves, really keep coming back and reflecting on the what they started it for and where it's going. Now, having said that, there's also a challenge. Sometimes you can get paralysis by analysis and question his decision making too much. So you've got to get a happy medium. But the ethics and all of those things, you've got to lead as a founder. You've got to inspire as a founder. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. So that's when I say it comes back to, I think, values and vision, and forging ahead with the vision. If you've set that vision and you're forging ahead, you'll get the other smart people on board. They'll pile on for that, and they will turbocharge and elevate it. But if they're all heading off in a different direction, thinking they understand your vision, you haven't communicated it properly, you're splintering it, and you're not getting that just ruthless prioritization and kind of ruthless focus, which, let's face it, you just need to have. It doesn't mean you have to burn yourself out, but it does need ruthless prioritization and ruthless focus on where, and communication on where you're going, so everybody else can join you on the journey.
Oh, it's beautiful to hear that, and that brings me to you, Angus. You know, Jason spoke so beautifully about just the conviction and your groundedness when it came to the values and what you are ultimately wanting to build, and avoiding those devilish whispers like you can cash out now, you can bank out now, you can take this shortcut to make more money. How did you have that foresight at young founders, 23, 24, you and Alex, to be able to stick to your convictions and really stay true to those values?
Yeah, it really is all about going in with the right mentality and knowing what you're in there for, as Jason spoke to. And so we were in there to solve a problem that we saw in the Australian market affecting 27 million customers. And now we fast forward today, we've got 1.2 million customers across Australia and New Zealand. And I think a recent YouGov survey says about 25% of Australians, including your grandma, hold crypto. And so it's all about delivering the right product for them. It's bigger than just myself, Alex, Jason, and our entire team at SWYFTX and the consolidated group. So
yep. And look, I read this fact. I need to know, is it true that we saw $3 billion came through in a year once of like trading assets through SWYFTX in a year?
More than that.
I was about to say, no, that's not true. That might have been in 1 month.
Yes, I can give you a fun statistic. The first billion with a B in trade volume took us about 2.5 years. The second billion took us 5 weeks. The third billion took us 3 weeks. So your stat might be a little bit out there on that one, but I think we're up into the close to $100 billion in lifetime trade volume at SWYFTX. Yeah.
Oh, mate. And I just want to hear it because you mentioning culture is just an amazing thing that's inside of SWYFTX at the moment. I had the pleasure, we're just speaking off camera, I got to speak to Tommy Hunnan, Director of Product. He was also just saying how amazing it is of the team that is on the ground. What does that feel like? Because I think so many companies strive to have a company culture that actually believes, actually cares, and is striving. What is that like to be in that world?
I mean, first and foremost, it comes from the people within. Like when we set up our company structure and started to make some of the stuff that's explicit, like our values and our mission and vision, we literally got our 20 or so employees together in a room and said, all right, what is SWYFTX to you? Because there's no point myself or Alex or any one person coming to it and going, oh, well, it's these 3 words, whatever. And so it was about bringing everyone together. And from there, it's just about bringing people, like-minded people, individuals coming in, giving them the context of where we're going and how they can contribute, and then bring them as part of the team and just, snowballing from there.
Having seen many cultures, I say to our team all the time, just enjoy and embrace what you got here. Because this is maybe not the only, but this is almost a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's just how it's come together. I do feel a lot of responsibility on my shoulders for it because of what Alex and Angus and those who've been before me. And we're only a 6-year-old company. I'm quite clearly a lot older than the guys and a lot older than most of the team. So
not that much older, mate.
So for me,
you look great.
Oh, thanks, guys. But the point I make about that is, these things are generational, and for me, it's not actually about the culture that I necessarily want. It's the culture that we've got. Do I feel comfortable, and can I amplify that? So I don't come into an organisation and try and necessarily change it unless I think it needs to be. In this case, it doesn't. But trying to protect it and preserve it under a different leadership style is definitely a responsibility, and I feel that. The other thing that SWYFTX has got to deal with now is as we go on this growth path through M&A, we are bringing cultures in from other great cultures, but they're all different. And we've got to be really careful about the egos and how they blend. So we're conscious about that. We are now looking to adopt. I think each organisation has its own, uniquenesses, things that they do, they celebrate. So we're now trying to get 3 things that are kind of going to be adopted by the whole company and the new companies that come aboard.
Yeah,
so
wow.
we'll celebrate a particular thing, or we'll do it this way, and that is something else. It's only one tool, but it's another tool that we're doing. So culture is at the forefront of what we do. But just because people love working there doesn't mean they do good work. And I think organisations have got to be careful about that. You can have a very happy culture when you do your surveys,
Great lattes.
your pulse surveys, but it doesn't mean it's an effective organisation and that they are moving the organisation forward. So that's the other thing I would say to founders: just be careful. Happiness doesn't mean effectiveness, and doesn't ultimately mean a good culture.
Yeah, data doesn't necessarily mean real information, does
Yeah.
it, gents? And last question from us. We're at Something Fest. How important is places like this and things like this for this community, SWYFTX and otherwise, in Australia and in the direction that we're headed today?
Yeah, it's absolutely critical. I mean, Brisbane's relatively understated compared to the rest of Australia, and our head office is literally just around the bend in the river down there, and so it's great to have this community around here and be able to chat to other founders, other people in the industry and tech and all that elements. You really get to understand that there are other people out there facing the same challenges and overcoming them, and there's so much to learn from those people as well.
100%. That's why I put myself out to be here. I've missed the last few years. I've been travelling a lot, but known Pauline for a while. I've known Lisa and Nadine that started it up a number of years ago. So it's great to be able to give back. That's what I like to be able to do, is to give back. To Angus's point, sometimes I think as a founder, as a VC investor, or as an executive or a professional supporter of the industry, you can get validation from what you hear from other people here. So I think it validates what you're already doing. And sometimes it does give you the opportunity to think, well, maybe I should course correct a bit as well. So yeah, super important. Ecosystem is important. And, at SWYFTX, we really do believe in supporting the ecosystem. So that's why we both made sure we came along.
Awesome. Thanks so much, gentlemen. Appreciate the
Thank you,
conversation.
James.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks so much, mate.
Thanks.